There is a country in Europe that shares a direct land border with Russia. We are talking about a country with 1.4 million people, roughly the size of Munich. Its entire territory fits inside Scotland. Its peacetime army is around 7,000 soldiers. On paper, this country should not be a problem for Russia. Russia has 144 million people, the world's largest nuclear arsenal, and an active military that has been fighting a land war in Europe for 3 years. And yet, right now, in 2026, that tiny country is spending 5.43% of its entire GDP on defense, more than almost any nation on Earth, nearly 4 times what it was spending before Russia invaded Ukraine. Here is what that money is building: 600 reinforced concrete bunkers along Russia's border, digging anti-tank ditches, deploying a brand new medium-range air defense system capable of hitting targets 40 kilometers out and 20 kilometers up, buying more HIMARS, constructing a military base directly on the Russian frontier, and pouring over 200 million euros specifically into counter-drone technology built entirely around lessons from Ukraine. It also just told Russia, publicly at the Munich Security Conference, that if Moscow attacks the Baltics, NATO will launch deep strikes directly into Russian territory. Russia's official response to all of this, they called it Russophobia, which, when you think about it, is exactly what you say when a country the size of West Virginia is doing something on your border that you genuinely do not have a clean answer for. This is what Estonia is building, and by the end of this video, you will understand why what is going up on that border is not just Estonia's problem anymore, and why Russia is significantly more uncomfortable about it than they will ever say publicly. Let's put Estonia's geography on the table first, because it is genuinely important. Estonia sits on the northeastern corner of NATO's territory. Its eastern border runs along Russia for 183 miles, most of it defined by the Narva River in the north and lakes Peipus and Pikva in the center. The city of Narva, Estonia's third largest, sits directly across a river from Russia. You can stand in Narva's old castle and look across at a Russian fortress that has been staring back since the 15th century. For most of the post-Cold War period, NATO's honest position on the Baltics was something like this: we cannot realistically defend Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania in the first days of a Russian attack. The best we can do is station enough Allied troops to make any Russian invasion trigger Article 5, then surge reinforcements from the west before the situation becomes permanent. It was called the tripwire model. Station a few thousand troops, absorb the initial blow, wait for the cavalry. The problem with the tripwire model is that it requires Russia to wait politely while NATO assembles the cavalry. Estonia looked at what happened in Ukraine in February 2022. The speed of the initial assault, the attempted decapitation of Kyiv in 72 hours, the complete disregard for anyone's reinforcement timeline, and made a decision. They were done waiting. Estonia's Chief of Defense, Lieutenant General Andris Merilo, was asked about the threat from Russia in 2026. His answer: given the aggressive nature of our neighboring country, the development of military capabilities is of critical importance to Estonia at the moment. For a military commander, that is about as close to "we need to move faster" as official language gets. The new doctrine has a name. Estonia calls it defend from moment one. Not defend from the moment reinforcements arrive. Not defend from the moment Article 5 is triggered. From moment one. From the first Russian soldier that crosses the border. From the first missile that leaves Russian airspace. Everything Estonia is building right now flows from that single decision. Here's where it gets specific, because the story of what Estonia is deploying is not one headline. It is a stack of systems being assembled simultaneously, and the combination is what makes it dangerous. Layer 1. The bunkers. In February 2026, Estonia launched procurement for 600 modular reinforced concrete bunkers to be deployed along its eastern border. Each one is designed to withstand a direct hit from 152mm artillery shells, the standard Russian field artillery caliber. They are modular, so they can be installed quickly in forested terrain. The Estonian government has allocated 60 million euros to the project, with the first 9 already installed in southeastern Estonia and installation accelerating. These bunkers are not meant to stop a full Russian invasion by themselves. Estonian officials are honest about that. What they are designed to do is turn the border into a glue trap, something that slows, disorients, and bleeds any advancing force long enough for everything else to activate, not a wall, a delay machine. And delay on a modern battlefield where every second of movement is visible from above is often the difference between a clean breakthrough and a catastrophic loss. Running alongside the bunkers, anti-tank ditches, dragon's teeth barriers, barrier fencing, and pre-positioned obstacle stores ready for rapid deployment the moment a threat is detected. Russia gets to watch all of it going up every day on their border. Layer 2, the air defense. In 2026, Estonia receives its first IRIS-T SLM medium-range air defense battery, procured jointly with Latvia from Germany. The same system that has proven itself in Ukraine against Russian missiles and drones. Range 40 kilometers, altitude coverage up to 20 kilometers. This fills a critical gap that has existed in Estonian air defenses since independence. Additional Piorun short-range air defense launchers with expanded ammunition stocks. The Piorun is a Polish-designed man-portable system with an infrared seeker that is specifically effective against low-flying targets, exactly the profile of Russian cruise missiles and Shahed-type drones. Looking toward 2030 and beyond, Estonia has earmarked approximately 1 billion euros for ballistic missile defense, the same tier of capability as Israel's David Sling. 3 layers where there used to be 1. Every single system selected with Ukraine's lessons in mind. Layer 3, the drone wall. Estonia is not just building defenses against Russian weapons, it is building defenses against Russian drones, which have become the defining weapon of this war and the single biggest gap in NATO's eastern flank. Over 200 million euros earmarked for counter-drone investment. Acoustic detection systems being deployed to identify drone signatures before they reach populated areas. Electronic countermeasures, drone surveillance networks, an entire unmanned systems integration program running across all levels of the Estonian Defense Forces, from small squad units up to high command. Estonia's defense minister Hanno Pevkur put it directly, most of the drones were not detected. This is a real gap we have to solve. He is solving it right now on Russia's border. Layer 4, HIMARS and Deep Strike. On April 11, 2026, 4 days before this script was written, Estonia signed an agreement with Lockheed Martin to purchase 3 additional HIMARS launchers, expanding its fleet from 6 to 9 systems. The deal includes an $11 million investment in local Estonian maintenance capacity, 9 HIMARS launchers operating from Estonian territory, with ATAC-MS precision missiles capable of reaching deep into Russian rear areas, well beyond anything Russia previously had to worry about from this direction. That range covers a significant portion of the Leningrad Oblast, the Russian administrative region directly across Estonia's border, home to major Russian military infrastructure. Russia is aware of the math. Now here is where Estonia's story connects to something that shook NATO to its foundations. May 2025. The Hedgehog exercise, 16,000 troops from 12 NATO nations assembled in Estonia to simulate a Russian invasion. Challenger 2 tanks, Apache helicopters, HIMARS, the full spectrum of Western military hardware on Estonian soil. Then 10 Ukrainian drone operators, pulled straight from the front lines, were brought in to play the enemy. Half a day, 17 armored vehicles mock destroyed, 30 simulated strikes, 2 NATO battalions rendered combat ineffective. The battle group was later described by one participant as having been just walking around, not using any kind of disguise, parking tents and armored vehicles, all of it destroyed. One NATO commander's reaction was 3 words that have since been repeated in every defense briefing room in Europe. "We are finished." The coordinator of unmanned systems for the Estonian Defense League called the result horrible. Estonian officers called it alarming. The Wall Street Journal ran a feature months later because NATO commanders were still digesting it. Here is the detail that makes it worse. The drone density used in Hedgehog was a fraction of what Ukrainian units run on a normal day in Donetsk. NATO faced a watered-down version of this battlefield, and nearly every unit struggled to cope. That result did not embarrass Estonia, it accelerated them. The acoustic detection systems now going up on Estonia's border, directly connected to Hedgehog. The €200 million counter-drone program, shaped by what happened when Ukrainian operators dismantled NATO's playbook in an Estonian field in an afternoon. Delta, the Ukrainian battlefield management system that compresses detection to strike down to 2.2 seconds, ran on NATO soil for the first time during that exercise. Baltic planners watched it work in their own backyard. The lesson was brutal. The response was fast. That combination is exactly what makes Estonia different from most of its NATO partners. Here is what Russia's military planners assumed about the Baltics for most of the post-Cold War period. 3 small countries, limited budgets, dependent on NATO reinforcement, separated from each other by bureaucracy and national procurement systems. Easy to isolate, easy to pressure individually. The kind of nations that, in a crisis, would be waiting for phone calls from Brussels rather than fighting from the first meter of their territory. That assumption is being systematically dismantled. In 2026, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania agreed to create a unified military mobility space, meaning forces and equipment can move between all 3 countries without the bureaucratic delays that have historically slowed Allied responses. Estonian artillery can support Lithuanian positions, Latvian forces can reinforce Estonian sectors, Lithuanian gear can reach Riga. Russia planned to face 3 small countries. They are going to face 1 connected wall. Joint procurement is running simultaneously. The IRIS-T SLM was procured jointly with Latvia. Piorun air defense is being coordinated across all 3 Baltic states. HIMARS networks are being aligned into a shared fires architecture. The same weapons, the same systems, the same doctrine, bought together, maintained together, and designed to fight together. What Russia is now facing is not 3 small countries trying to hold a line. It is 1 synchronized military bloc, hardened by lessons from the most intense drone war in history, taught by people who have been fighting that war for 3 years. Russia called Finland joining NATO a provocation. They called Sweden joining NATO a provocation. They called every Baltic defense investment Russophobia. Meanwhile, the Baltic defense line keeps going up. The bunkers keep arriving. The HIMARS keep multiplying. The IRIS-T batteries start arriving this year, and Ukraine keeps teaching NATO what the modern battlefield actually looks like. Now, let's talk about the part of Estonia's posture that Moscow finds most uncomfortable. Because everything we have discussed so far, the bunkers, the air defense, the drone walls, the HIMARS, is defensive in framing. It makes an attack more expensive. It raises the cost of any quick Russian move against the Baltics. But in February 2026, Estonia's foreign minister Margus Tsahkna stood up at the Munich Security Conference and said something that went significantly beyond defensive framing. He said that if Russia attacks the Baltics, NATO will launch high-precision deep strikes directly into Russian territory. That is political signaling, not a signed NATO war order. But here is why it matters. Russia has relied for 3 years on the West's reluctance to say things like that out loud. The fact that a NATO foreign minister said it publicly at the most watched security conference in Europe is the message. The intent is to close the hesitation gap before a conflict starts, not after. This is what Estonia's military calls forward deterrence. The logic is straightforward. Russia's strategy in Ukraine relied partly on the assumption that the West would hesitate before escalating. Every restriction on long-range weapons, every delay in approvals, every careful calculation about what might provoke Moscow, all of it created space for Russia to operate. Estonia's position is that space is closed. 9 HIMARS with ATACMS, a medium-range air defense layer going in this year, a €1 billion ballistic missile defense program in the pipeline, deep strike capability coordinated with Latvia and Lithuania, and a political declaration that any attack triggers immediate strikes into Russian territory. The Estonian commander's stated goal is not to look impenetrable. It is to make any Russian attack so immediately and disproportionately expensive in casualties, in destroyed rear infrastructure, in forced Russian defensive redeployments, that the calculation never makes sense to begin with. That is deterrence. real deterrence. Not a tripwire and a phone call to Brussels, and it is being built right now on Russia's border by a country smaller than West Virginia. Russia has a word for what Estonia is doing. They call it Russophobia, which is an interesting choice of word for a country that invaded Georgia in 2008, annexed Crimea in 2014, launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, has had its fighter jets violate Estonian airspace, its border guards briefly cross into Estonian territory near Narva in December 2025, and its drones routinely stray into Baltic airspace. Estonia does not call it Russophobia. Estonia calls it preparation, bunkers, HIMARS, layered air defense, drone walls, a unified Baltic military bloc, and a standing commitment to deep strikes into Russian territory from moment one. The NATO commander, who watched 10 Ukrainians dismantle 2 battalions in an Estonian field and said, "We are finished," was not describing Estonia's weakness. He was describing a problem Estonia has already started solving, faster than almost any other NATO member, with more urgency than anyone who does not share a border with Russia seems to feel, and with a clarity about what the modern battlefield actually requires that most Western defense establishments are still arguing about in committee rooms. Russia's official line is that Estonia is hysterical, paranoid, a nation manufacturing threats that do not exist. Russia's military planners call it something else. They call it a border that is getting harder to approach every month. Subscribe. We cover the weapons, strategies, and shifts that actually decide wars, not the headlines, the real story.